Another intense cell out of Montgomery County. We'll keep an eye on that one. More clusters of storms. Clark, Marengo, Wilcox, Dallas, Perry, back into northern Autauga and Chilton. So far, these are behaving a little better than this has been. This has been our problem area so far, this little cluster of storms that as it has moved east, northeast across central Alabama, it's caused problem after problem after problem. So hopefully we can get this thing taken care of. Now, we're on the air for Elmore County at the current moment. We've had several reports of hail in Prattville, just so you know. We will wait and see what happens with this tornado warning in Elmore County. If that gets extended, we'll stay on. If it doesn't, we will go back to programming briefly. But I will tell you, as this line moves through, even if we go back to programming, it's probably not going to be for terribly long, because we think this is just one of these days, unfortunately, where we're going to have this happen over and over and over with multiple kind of situations here. So what I want to do, go back into the rotation thing. It's velocities. So it's cycling back up, huh? Yep. All right. Oh, yeah, there it is. They'll have to extend that, I think. So Lake Martin, you're next. Heads up. Kalijah, Children's Harbor, Kalijah Restaurant, Chuck's Marina, really the south end of the lake would be where this is going to end up kind of going. I think it stays south of the Coosa side. So if you live up near Parker Creek, the Landing, Parker Creek Marina, this probably goes a tick south of you. It'll be close. You'll need to be paying attention, but the highest tornado threat with this is going to move across northern Elmore County. Right now, the threat is highest right here. So approaching the Seaman community, that's Alabama 9 right there. There's a quality at Coosa County. There's Seaman in Elmore County. Here's Kalijah over here on the southwest end of Lake Martin. So this is going to move just like this. And gosh, Tyler, that's as strong as we've seen it since it was back over towards Slapout and Holtville. This is beginning to show, again, strong signs of rotation. And I think that if we don't have a tornado in Elmore County, we're going to very soon. So if you live along Alabama Highway 9 from Central to the Coosa line, get in that tornado safe place right now. Latest from the National Weather Service, they're getting ready to extend it now. The backside kicking around on this thing indicates an enhanced tornado risk out here. So just soon you will see a new polygon flash on the screen out here that carries you all the way over to Lake Martin. So Kalijah, Chuck's Marina, south end of the lake, Cotton. There's Cotton's Barbecues, a big popular restaurant right out here on 63. Central, Middle Road, Alabama 9, tornado safe place now. This is not the time to think or wonder or decide or check Facebook or call Uncle Larry to see what he thinks. Get in your safe place right now. Do not delay. This is one of these scenarios where these rotation areas, they're going to, in a matter of seconds, drop a tornado. And then it's going to lift, and we're going to say, hey, it lifted. And you're going to say, oh, I'm good. And then it's going to drop again, just like that. It's like whack-a-mole. So what I want you to do is just get in the safe place and stay in it, so that you're not like a mole sticking its head up out of the ground over and over and over to see if this is lifted or not lifted. Don't get wound up in all of that. Let us worry about that. The idea is there is a very substantial risk of a tornado right now from really all the way from Weoka to Lake Martin. So that whole corridor, Weoka, Seaman, Faulkner, Cotton, Central, Kalijah. Get in that safe spot, stay in that safe spot for about the next 25 to 35 minutes. And then we'll have to talk about downstream what happens. Do we get this into Tallapoosa County? Do we get this into, does this clip southeastern Coosa too? So equality. You need to stay on your toes in equality and on over into that southeastern part of Coosa County too, because this is going to be close enough to that county line to where the new tornado warning that's going to appear on the screen any second now may indeed clip parts of southeastern Coosa County. It will likely clip parts of Tallapoosa County, and it will certainly include northeastern Elmore County. So Cotton to Kalijah in Elmore County, equality over to Lake Martin. Get in that tornado safe place right now and be prepared to stay there for 30 to 40 minutes as this all moves quickly towards the east. So that's our only active tornado warning situation is back here in Elmore County. Now, the other thing I want to do, I want to take you out of this storm and back over into Autauga. Now, the reason I want to do that, we have been tracking some rotation in the Prattville area. So this is a possible, if not likely, tornado here, Elmore County. We've covered that. You got to stay in that tornado safe place. What I want to do now, though, is move the map over and kind of go up and down this line. This is back into Elmore County. There's Jordan Dam. We don't see much rotation with that. So Wallsboro to Wetumpka, you're looking all right now. Deatsville, looking all right now. Back into Elmore and Millbrook, looking all right now as well. Then back over into Prattville. This rotation that we have been tracking, kind of on the south end of Prattville now, pretty weak, not jumping off the screen at us. So Weather Service now saying they're checking up on the tornado warning. It broadened out in the last scan. Let's go back up and look at that with Tyler in a moment. And what we'll do too here, if we're all on the same page here, Tyler, at 2:30, we are going to send Mr. Seabree home to sleep. He has to be back at midnight tonight. There's a second wave of storms that's coming later tonight, and meteorologist Nick Gunner will join us on the television side. He's updating the weather app right now and our social media and all of that. So meteorologist Amanda Curran is out live in Storm Tracker 12. So we've got the whole team in here for now, but we're going to have to get Tyler a little bit of rest here so he can pop back on at midnight with us tonight. How about that? Go to college, be a meteorologist, they said. It'll be fun. They lied.
Retweet.
Yeah, and that's a period. So that's our tornado warning storm, Elmore. Looks like they got a severe up in Talladega County. They're still waiting and watching like we are. So let's toss over to Tyler. He's got the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone toolbox at his disposal. Tyler, walk us through this storm and the trends you've seen in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think at one point when we were talking, Josh, around 2:10, 2:11, 2:12, it did look like a tornado was very much possible. But like we continue to say, with these storms, they get to a point to where they produce a tornado or get very close to producing a tornado, and very fast they don't. And then they spin back up again, and then they weaken. It's a cycling kind of event. That's what we've seen so far today. We haven't seen one of those big bad storms just take over and track for, hour, 2 hours and continue to produce a tornado. It's been a tornado, and then the tornado lifts, and then the same storm may produce one down the road, and you go through that pattern over and over again. Right now, the tornado warning is still confined to just north central Elmore County at this point. It's over the north central part of the county now, heading toward eventually the southeast corner of Coosa, and then southwestern Tallapoosa, and then the southern part of Lake Martin here. So we'll see if they extend this. Right now they have not, and I don't see at this point any text or indication that they're going to extend this tornado warning yet. However, it's been one of those days where these things are literally changing what they want to do in snap of a finger. So right now, the circulation and possible tornado is right along the Elmore-Coosa County line, just outside of Equality here. So now the circulation is actually outside of the tornado warning. So I have a feeling any moment they will drop these tornado warnings, and once that happens, we'll see if they issue another warning that would be into the southeast corner of Coosa and then Tallapoosa. We'll have to see. This is almost out of Elmore now, where your possible tornado would be. Not seeing any indication on what they're going to do, the National Weather Service here, but most definitely very impressive signature, at least enough there to say you should watch this. If you're in Tallapoosa County and the northern part of Lake Martin, up into the south side of Alex City. This is certainly Wind Creek State Park is there. Of course, this is going to go generally in that direction. Lake Martin, the northern half of Lake Martin at least. The Tallapoosa side of Lake Martin is going to be impacted by this actually right now, getting into the western part of the lake here where the fingers kind of extend out here near Equality is your area of rotation. Not tornado warned right now near Equality, but certainly here we go. I think, Josh, if you can hear me, this might be the best way to describe it. It's a game of chicken with the cell coming out of Elmore. I think that's about the most accurate way that you could describe this storm so far. A game of chicken. It's tightening up, could produce a tornado, then it weakens. Then it tightens up, then it weakens. So right now they have not pulled the trigger on a new tornado warning near Equality. But I would say if you're on the northern part of Lake Martin here, Kalijah North, up toward our town and, of course, Wind Creek State Park, really the entire Tallapoosa side of Lake Martin, I would go ahead and say get in your safe place and just stay there, hang with us through this storm. Deciding if they're going to issue a warning or not, I would err on the side of caution with this particular storm. If you're in Tallapoosa around Lake Martin, go ahead and stay in your safe place and just stay there until A, we find out if a warning is going to be issued or not, and or B, we give you the all clear. But for right now, it would just, err on the side of caution to be safe. It doesn't look as impressive as it once did, for sure. Most definitely not a tornado on the ground with this, and I would suspect they're going to cancel these tornado warnings very soon for Elmore, because this is now into southeast Coosa and eventually will cross into Tallapoosa County shortly, this area of rotation and possible tornado. So Elmore likely very, very soon, a matter of minutes, if not seconds, I would say Elmore will be canceled. We'll have to see. Of course, the National Weather Service has the final say on that. And we'll see if they extend any sort of warning into southeast Coosa and Tallapoosa counties. It looks like, let's see, Tree Across Road at intersection of Greer Road and Lobo Road. That is just west of the Seaman community per the fire department there. 10331 Greer Road. Tree down, so at least, if not a tornado, some very strong wind in that general area. So there you have it. Tornado warning, Coosa, Elmore, Tallapoosa. There you have it. So they decided to, with the storm near equality, moving east at 30, your new polygon is going to pop up here in just a moment. Your area of circulation is still right there near equality. There you have it. So there's your new tornado warning polygon. It now firmly includes pretty much the entirety of Lake Martin, Dadeville, a new site there, Wind Creek State Park, south of Alex City proper, but the southern fringes of Alex City certainly look to be at least in the range of this potential tornado here. So possible tornado, it is radar indicated. Rotation here, radar indicated tornado is now in the southeast corner, really where Elmore and Coosa and Tallapoosa all meet. That's where this is, near equality, heading east, maybe slightly north of East Josh, the northern half of Lake Martin. I say safe place and stay there until the warning is dropped. Same thing for Dadeville, new site, etc.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. We talked to you about this Lake Martin situation out here for some time. So this should not be a surprise to you that this has happened if you've been watching our coverage. So your possible tornado is right out here, as Tyler was doing a great job identifying. This is going to go essentially cut sort of right across the middle part of the lake. If you live near Parker Creek Marina, our good friend Herb Winch is out there. If you live near Herb, if you live near the Landing, if you live south of there, back to Kalija, over to Chuck's Marina, if you live over near Stillwaters, if you live off the lake, live at Dadeville, at Jackson's Gap, get in that tornado safe place. This is going to end up near you down the road. Now, the core circulation staying a little south of Alexander City, but you're in the polygon. Same with the Landing in the Parker Creek area. I think the core of it goes just a little south of there, but I'm talking maybe less than a mile. So it will be a very close shave there as this crosses 63 a little down the road and then eventually heads on across the lake. So this will affect that western part of the lake and then cut on from there. Looks like maybe a update to the tornado watch. We'll check on that momentarily. I'll step out here so that you can sort of watch all of this happening. And if we can, in a moment, I'm going to head over to the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone and do a little tracking over here as well, using our tools and technology there. So this will probably give us a little bit better look in. And there you go. So we'll zoom back out a little bit here and find that signature. It's back off to the west a little. It's back over here. That's what Tyler had done a great job of saying. But so there it is right there. There you see it. There's your possible tornado. So for reference, Real Island Marina is down here. This is Kalija. This will be very close to Parker Creek Marina. It's essentially over it. We thought it might go a little south of there, but it had been moving almost due east. Now I think it's resumed a little more northeast motion. So it's over Parker Creek now, and it's going to go just like this, right across the lake. So if you live at the Ridge subdivision, if you live at Willow Point, if you live along Alabama 63, those are all areas that are going to be impacted by this. So this possible tornado. We don't see any debris signature in this right now. That's good news. Let me turn the warnings back on here. There you go. So there's your polygon right there. So this goes right over Lake Martin and heads to Dadeville. And it looks like we're having a little trouble. Barron's not clearing the old polygons off. So
It has a tendency to do that.
we'll have to get on the hub and see if we can get that fixed up. Now the good news is elsewhere there are no other active tornado warnings. This is really the only game in town right now. We're watching more storms from Wetumpka back into Montgomery. as well, but those are not producing active tornado warnings. Wetumpka back down into Montgomery, and when we look at the rotation, and then we frankly don't see a whole heck of a lot. That's good news. So, but just know that we're watching. On a day like today, we've got eyes in the back, front, and sides of our head. We have to just sort of watch all of this at the same time. Another kind of cluster of storms runs from Marbury and Pine Level back over towards Orville and Dallas County. So far, those are behaving. The only real kind of imminent threat of a tornado is right out here. So we'll show you the bear and shear rate on this. And there you see it, some strong rotation being detected now. Again, in the vicinity of Parker Creek Marina on that western kind of finger of Lake Martin that runs back up towards the Coosa County line. This is going to keep moving towards the east-northeast. This will cross 63 and then head on over towards Paces Point in the Dadeville side of the lake. If you live at Bama Park, this goes north of you. If you live near Chuck's Marina, it's a really close call, but I think the worst of this goes north of Chuck's Marina. Here's the Blue Creek area out here. This will go north of that too. So Paces Point, the Ridge, Trillium would be out here, Willow Point would be out here, Kalijah, and over towards the landing at Parker Creek would all be kind of some landmarks out there. And then eventually, this moves past the lake, and we get more into Dadeville and Jackson's Gap. You live out along 280. If you live along 49 south from Blue Creek up through Stillwaters and up into the town of Dadeville, you need to be in that tornado safe place. Lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet would give you the best chance of safely navigating this entire situation. We'll swap sources here. This is our IBM system showing you the same thing, a little less detail, but that's the same idea there as that moves on over from Dadeville to Jackson's Gap. So if we can, we're going to get meteorologist Nick Gunner in here in just a moment, and he and I will begin to tag team, and we will sort of start to transition. Tyler has been here and awake and working nonstop for about the last 12 hours or so, and he has to be back in 10 hours at midnight, 9:30. So we're going to try to get him out of here. There's Nick. I see your arm, Nick. Hey, Nick. Meteorologist Nick Gunner joining me now. He and I will do some tag team coverage, and we're going to get you home to get some sleep. Amazing job today out of Tyler Seabury. When we hired him, that was the reason why, because we thought he would be able to do a great job on days like today, which unfortunately we deal with too much. I need to check in with meteorologist Amanda Curran. She also does a fantastic job for us. She's out in Storm Tracker 12, and looks like we've got some flashing lights there, which on days like today is never a good thing. This would be
it's a severe for Wilcox, it looks like.
A new severe thunderstorm warning for Wilcox County. We'll jump on that momentarily. I can tell you, too, in the Prattville area, we have had a home hit by a lightning strike. There's been a fire at a home in Prattville area. So just because there hasn't been big tornado damage doesn't mean there haven't been problems. And do we know anything about what we were just looking at there with the flashing lights in Prattville? If we have any sort of update that we could pass along, that would be, is that Storm Tracker 12? Is that? Okay, so that's Storm Tracker 12 in Prattville area with, looked like some sort of incident had occurred. Now, I hesitate to call it damage. I don't know if it was damage or not, but some sort of incident had happened out there. Tornado watch now canceled, Bibb, Green, Hale County. So what they're doing is back behind this, essentially behind this line. Once this line clears, they cancel the tornado watch. Now, the issue becomes what happens later. Check this out. This is our Barron computer model, and unfortunately, we're going to do more of this late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Watch as we go through the next several hours. We're going to deal with kind of multiple waves of showers and thunderstorms sweeping across the state, and unfortunately, some of these could be strong to severe even deep into the dead of night. So let's check in with meteorologist Amanda Curran. She is in Storm Tracker 12. And Amanda, the picture there, the flashing fire department lights, and it looks like some sort of emergency response there on the side of your screen underneath those pecan trees. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so Josh, we were sitting here right at the intersection of 31 and 23 across the street from the Dollar General when the very loud screeching of a car hydroplaning and then running into a tree. Happy to report that the young gentleman at the wheel of the car is alive and breathing, but this is a unfortunate reminder of the fact that, yes, we talk severe weather, we talk damaging wind, tornadoes, but being out on the roadways right now is not a good idea. We actually have a member of the police department coming up to our door right now. Hello, sir. State Trooper, we are actually live on WSFA right now, not showing images of the actual car, just showing the lights. Yes, sir. Yes, we had a state.
Did y'all see what happened?
We did see what happened. Josh, we're going to talk to the state trooper right now. We were here actively when the scene happened, so we're going to send it back to you in the studio.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, we appreciate the cooperation there with our amazing law enforcement community in Alabama and our first responder community as well. They do a lot of the work there. So Amanda's going to work out with them what happened. But that's why we send Storm Tracker 12 into the field, is because we're able to have boots on the ground. We're able to get you information faster when it is out. So when it is safe to do so, we do that so that we can help keep you ahead of everything that's going on. So active tornado warnings. We have one. It's right out here. It's in Tallapoosa, Elmore, and Coosa County. It's where the three counties come together. We will use the Maxwell radar and go into the velocity product here. There's a couple of pockets that we're watching. This one is the reason they issued the tornado warning right here. It's now crossing Alabama 63. Frankly, that rotation is relatively broad. So the National Weather Service, they're calling it transitory rotation. It transitions a lot. It rotates and then it stops rotating, and then it rotates and then it stops rotating. We call it whack-a-mole. Just boom, 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 boom. They pop up so quick. So that's what we do on days like today, is we just sort of sit here and watch the new scans come in together, and we totally level with you about what they show and what they say. So there is broad rotation now in the Our Town area. That would be just past Willow Point, the Trillium subdivision. Movement here east-northeast. This is going to go on the south end of Wind Creek, and then from there head on over towards Paces Point and Dadeville. So if anything, this may be kind of occluding, and sometimes when these storms go through that process called occlusion, it actually pulls the rotating part north. We've seen that in this storm. This rotation was actually down here earlier, and it's really made kind of a left loop, kind of a left turn there up towards the Our Town area. And our experience tells us when that happens, usually the next thing that happens is you start to see a new pocket of rotation form south of the original. And so, Kalijah, you are in a tornado warning polygon for that exact reason. The National Weather Service shares our kind of viewpoint and opinion about that while the strongest rotation right now is up here, that really this entire corridor would need to be watched back down to the south, back towards Kalijah, back towards Central and Cotton, back down there in Elmore County. So that's where we stand right now. There is some rotation crossing 63 near Our Town, south of Alex City. It's not as strong as it was, and we'll have to keep a closer eye down on the southwest end of the lake now, back down towards Kalijah and Cotton and Central, to see if that starts to spin back up a little bit. So far, so good, but that's something that we'll just sort of have to watch, wait, and see how it all plays out. If we can, I want to take you back, show you what's happening, the broader perspective. And in Montgomery right now, the weather is miserable. It is pouring rain in downtown Montgomery. This is the Health Star camera network on top of the RSA Tower. We can go from there to the Capitol camera. You see the same thing. This is atop our building here at WSFA 12 News, 445 Dexter, looking back towards the tower there, and you can see shaking as well. It's a windy scenario here in Montgomery as well as this line of storms comes on through. And we'll have to watch that down near Hyundai. That's that southernmost flank of that storm to see if we see any signs of rotation there. So far, it's been pretty well behaved, and it still is. That's good news. Not a lot to that. Now, if that changes, you'll be the first to know. We will watch that kind of as we're going through all of this as well. So meteorologist Nick Gunner here as well. And if we can, we can take this full screen, and then we'll kind of work on framing up a two-shot here at the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone. We can get into a little team coverage mode with meteorologist Nick Gunner joining me momentarily. So that will take a moment or two to sort of get it all wound up. Our amazing team in the back, the TMPs. That's short for Technical Media Producers. They are the amazing group of men and women who make this television station what it is. So we thank them for their work on a day like today especially. So, and Nick, you have some news to pass along from the Perry County EMA director,
Yeah.
Perry County in West Alabama, hit earlier with a couple of different storms that looked like they could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, you're all wall to wall for those storms as they moved out of Marengo into Perry County. And we have confirmation from the EMA director there that one family lost a mobile home and the structure was lifted off the foundation. Luckily, there were no injuries, but that was along Coretta Scott King Highway around the 3400 block of that. So we're thankful that there was no injuries with that. But that just goes to show you when we talk about get into your safe place, know what to do if a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning threatens your neighborhood, your home, know where to go, know what to do so you can be safe within these storms.
Yeah, and we actually called out Coretta Scott King Highway during our coverage because we were concerned about that area. And Nick, this is a good point too. They say the structure was lifted off the foundation. Yeah. We have family members, friends, neighbors who live in mobile homes. We are not here to make fun of mobile homes or to give you a hard time or any sort of negative emotion. We have none of that. We're trying to keep you safe. And Nick, this was telling it was lifted off the foundation. We see that a lot.
And a lot of times it has to do with how it's anchored into the ground. That wind can be so strong that it can just lift the anchors out of the ground and then it starts tumbling and rolling away. And so that's why we say know where to go, have a place to go, have a neighbor, a friend who may have a sturdy site-built home that they could go to ride out these storms as they work their way across the state.
And that's the moral of the story right there. It's not the quality of the home. We're not picking on that at all. It's not that. No. It is how it stays anchored to the ground. And homes that are built on a slab or on a crawl space, historically, they fare better than the manufactured or mobile homes because sometimes those straps fail. There's a lot of problems that can run into play there. Yeah. National Weather Service telling us the Tallapoosa tornado warning storm has been generally weakened. They will monitor trends for the next few scans. If those trends hold, they will cancel the tornado warning. Now, if that happens, we will go back to programming and update the website, the video section of the weather page, the weather app. We'll do radio. We'll do a forecast. We'll create a 7-day forecast, and we'll be back on the air.
A lot goes on behind the scenes.
In less than 90 minutes with all of that smoothly done, and you at home would have never known what we were up to. So ideally, that would be the case here. So let's go back into Tallapoosa, Nick, and you kind of see this whole line right here. Earlier when it was in Autauga and Elmore, it had a lot of kinks in the line. Right. You don't see as much of that now. You still see some of it, though.
Yeah, at least it's turning into that line. But then we kind of transition to something else. When it becomes a line, that means damaging wind gusts could be an issue down the stream of that. So even if they do expire this tornado warning early, places like Dadeville along Highway 280 could be dealing with very strong winds. So it might be a good idea to just hold off any travel between, say, Auburn and Sylacauga when it comes to Highway 280 corridor, because it's going to be one, a heavily traveled corridor, and two, it's going to be dangerous with this heavy rain, blinding rain in some instances as it moves across the county there.
And candidly, that's a road that needs no help being dangerous. No. We've seen, even in the last week, really bad accidents on that road. Yeah. So if you don't have to travel, as he said, Auburn up towards Sylacauga, just stay at home and watch a leftover Christmas movie or something.
New severe thunderstorm warning for Montgomery.
Yep, there it is. That's coming into the capital city right now. So severe thunderstorm over Montgomery. That goes up into Elmore County. So that's what they're doing. They've got the tornado warning up here. They're blanketing this part of the line with a severe thunderstorm warning. And I will tell you, we talked about this northern part of the line not having the kinks in it anymore.
Yeah. But look
the
at the
southern part of the line, you've got two areas right there that are kind of kinked out a little bit. Those are both spots where tornadoes could form with little or no warning. So I need you to stay aware and be ready to get to that safe place if you live in northern Montgomery County and back into southern and eastern Elmore County.
And I know we have camera sites on the various TV monitors here in the studio. I can tell you what, the Dexter Avenue camera went from pretty good visibility of the Capitol building and our building here, and it went downhill fairly quickly from our camera sites here. Yeah,
there you go. It updated.
Updated, and
wow.
You can't even see the Capitol from the building, so it just goes to show you. And I'll tell you this, I live out east, and when I was traveling on Interstate 85 heading into work, there was a lot of traffic on the interstate. A lot of people are back to work today after the long holiday weekend, and so just maybe wait it out if you're at work and you're thinking, maybe should I go home early or not? Might want to wait this storm cell out because it's going to be torrential rain as it moves across the capital city as we speak.
And, we've got a situation in Prattville where a home was hit by lightning, and there's actually quite a bit of damage to the home. We think everyone's safe there. So
good. Lightning can be very, very dangerous. My parents live up in Alabaster. Their house got struck by lightning recently, blew out a lot of electronics within the home. Luckily, the home survived, but electricity is nothing to play around with about how dangerous that can be.
Going over some of the pictures and photos and stuff we're getting in now.
Yeah. While you're doing that, here's the current situation that we have right now. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that does include the capital city, city of Montgomery, pretty much all of the highly populated center of the city itself. That stretches into southern portions of Elmore County. It looks like it does include parts of Wetumpka there. And not only that, though, we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is down here in portions of Clark, Wilcox, and northern Monroe County. National Weather Service in Mobile has issued that. And if that's not enough, look at that. There's another tornado warning down in the Florida Panhandle. If that holds together, first alert to southern portions of Covington County, because that storm cell could impact you guys. So it looks like it's going to be a long evening. I know y'all talked about this morning, and it's going to continue into the afternoon hours and tonight across the region. So we'll have to see what the National Weather Service's Mobile is saying with this storm cell as it moves through, looks like north of Milton, Florida there.
Also, tornado warning canceled for Tallapoosa and Elmore.
Oh, that's good.
That's for Santa Rosa County in Florida. That one's moving northeast at 40. That could get into Covington, like you said, especially southwest Covington and south central Covington. So,
and what's concerning about this, it's a cell by itself.
It is.
There's nothing interrupting the storm cell around it. So when you see those storm cells that are by themselves, not really in a cluster, that could mean they could aid in rotation, aid in the formation of tornadoes potentially. And you see a lot of them here in southern portions of the state, relatively untouched area today when it comes to the storm systems, and also a very primed area. If you've stepped outside at any point today, very muggy, very warm, very un-January-like for us day here.
definitely. Yeah, and that's what we had just said, that the tornado warning has been canceled for Elmore and Tallapoosa counties and southeast Coosa. So there are no active tornado warnings remaining in our area. So what we're going to do, let's walk this. I'll tell you, it makes me nervous to go back to programming with what we're seeing out here in Montgomery and Elmore.
Yeah.
Let's see how much rotation we're getting in that right now. Not really much, which is wonderful. Let's hope that continues.
What about the shear rate?
Some concern, but not a ton.
Yeah.
Okay, so severe thunderstorm warning continues for the city of Montgomery. I will tell you, it is raining torrentially now in downtown and out towards Midtown now. Probably a little bit of, I don't say probably, there's a chance there's some pea-sized hail in this.
Yeah.
You get up into that purple color, sometimes you can get that. So from Montgomery out to Capitol Heights, and then this would be Madison Avenue, Highland Avenue, Carter Hill Road, Vaughn Road, Norman Bridge, those areas. Old Cloverdale, raining torrentially, maybe a little hail in that as well.
Looks like maybe near the Alabama State camera site we have.
There you go.
Might be a good vantage point to see, maybe not be able to see anything. Yeah.
Rocking and rolling. Yeah, so as sort of just a course of least regret, I think we will just stay in weather coverage through 3 o'clock. If we don't have any additional life-threatening weather at that point in time, we will go back to programming for 1 hour and then begin our news cycle at 4 o'clock with WSFA's First at 4. But right now we have pretty serious weather moving through Alabama's capital city. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the city of Montgomery. The risk, damaging wind primarily. You'll notice the trees here on the ASU campus moving around. It helps this time of year to not have the big, thick canopy of leaves in the tops of the trees. That helps. The lack of leaves can make the trees a bit more aerodynamically sound, so the wind can't push them over quite as easily as it does during the spring and the summertime when we see that happen more often. And interestingly, Nick, you look back through this.
I was going to say, you could see maybe some sun.
Some sun poking through. That actually may be bad news, though.
Yeah, we usually don't want sun and more heat on the backside of storms. That could be a bad thing, and not a good sign to see from that camera site there, especially with more storms to the
kind of building
west.
back in there. So there may be some sun poking through out here, parts of Autauga, southern Autauga, heavier rain back to the north. Possible wind damage occurring in the storms from Montgomery back up into southern Elmore. And then we'll have to watch some of these little shapes like the one you see right there and the one you see right there.
Those soft seas, as you mentioned.
Yeah, right. Those can be areas where tornadoes develop. That's just kind of a look ahead for that. Mobile saying tornado warning Okaloosa and Santa Rosa County for that southern storm. We'll check the rotation on these in the north. quickly here. I'd say so far so good.
Still broad, and we have great radar coverage. You can literally see where the Montgomery Maxwell radar site is. So we're getting a really good look within these storm cells.
That's your radar right
there,
there.
just outside of Tallahassee.
So we've got, what, 20 miles away?
And so a good sign to see that we're not seeing any major rotation signs with in these storm cells.
Indeed it is. All right, let's head into the Mobile radar here. And the reason I want to do that is to take you down into South Alabama, and I mean way down here.
And it's now butting up against
Covington
County.
Yeah, so if this continues to move northeast, we may end up with a tornado warning into Covington County. So I need you on your toes and ready to move. If you live in the southern half or so of Covington County, from Pleasant Home over towards Florala and Lockhart, Stanley and Red Oak, you need to be ready. As this thing moves northeast, there is some chance we end up with a tornado warning for Covington County. And I'll give you special advice if you live in a manufactured or mobile home in Covington County. Quite frankly, if you have a family member or friend, place you can go free nearby, go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Don't wait on it to get 3 minutes away and then try to get in your car and beat it somewhere. Yeah. Just go ahead and go. Remove the risk from the situation if you can there in southern Covington County.
Because we already had reports of a mobile home damaged in Perry County within these storms. So
it has a history. And I mean, I'll be perfectly frank with you. It was a family. They lost their mobile home. There's no injuries. And I don't know if they were in the mobile home or not, but the mobile home was lifted off the foundation and
thrown, essentially.
If they were in that and survived, divine intervention. If they weren't in that and survived, that's fantastic. All that to say is we are divine intervention, luck, planning, whatever you want to call it, away from having tornado deaths today. Mm-hmm. If someone had been in that thing when all of that happened, maybe this all goes different. Or if they reports of injuries or anything bad yet, let's make sure that continues to be the case rather than you say, well, gosh, nothing's happening, I'm going to change the channel or I'm going to quit paying attention to the weather. Don't do that. We don't need to do that.
Because just think, our friends in the southern half of the state really hasn't seen much but just passing showers today, and then all of a sudden there could be a tornado warning.
Tornado warning storm coming into Covington.
So just something to stay weather aware throughout the evening.
And that's the point of everything I was just saying there. It's just we just need you to kind of stay weather aware. Be ready to move. Be prepared. That's it. You do that, you're going to be fine. There's no need for hysteria, hype, anything like that. We knew all of this was going to unfold sort of the way it has so far. Yeah. This is not surprising to us. Shouldn't be surprising to you.
I'd be curious to see if our Auburn University at Montgomery camera looks like looking into the storm. We may have to move the camera there, but I know it's getting closer to that camera site.
See if I can get the trusty joystick here. My mom said all those years of video games would rot my brain. Here we are, I'm playing one for a job.
And you know what?
Joke's on you, Mom.
We are just very appreciative of all of our engineers that we have at this TV station. They're the ones who make a lot of this happen. Lovely joystick where we can move stuff here. And just amazing technology we have here in the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone, along with our HealthStar camera network partners that we have. Kind of looks like a wall of water there in the distance. Definitely, if you're in the East Chase area, just let you know it's about to become like a deluge of rain here in a few minutes.
Like when he says deluge, he really means it.
Yeah.
The bottom is going to fall out.
It's going to be very significant rainfall along this storm.
So there you see it right there. The good news is, Nick, I don't see any sign of any sort of base lowering or wall cloud within this. And that's quite frankly the reason we wanted to bring this up. The other thing we'll note on this, if you look south of that band of thunderstorms, it gets pretty bright over here, pretty quick. It's good news. Should look back in that direction. Quarter-sized hail falling in the Del Rey area from WSFA alumnus John Holman, good friend of ours, worked with us for years at WSFA. So, John, we appreciate the report as always. Stay safe, buddy.
And I know areas like Zelda Road is prone to flooding in that area, and with that significant amount of rainfall and just coming out of that storm cell, please use caution on the roadways. We don't want anyone hydroplaning today. If you think there's water over roads, just take it slow. If you can wait out the storm, do it. Otherwise, just be careful on those highways and byways across the city. don't go the speed limit. Keep in mind that a speed limit is suggested as if it's perfect conditions outside.
And that's not perfect.
That's not perfect. So don't.
I'm
go
not
the
a
speed
road
limit.
engineer,
Yeah,
but that's not perfect.
that's not looking perfect. So.
Taylor Crossing area out in East Montgomery, some quarter-sized hail there.
Right.
That report just coming in. So
And we were seeing that with radar. The blacks and the deep purples usually
Right.
indicate some kind of hail.
some hail. Yeah, here you see it coming into AUM. I'm going to briefly go step away from that to go back here. Looks like the worst of that storm will go at just a little north of AUM.
Yeah.
We're actually pointed northwest here. The AUM camera sits right about there. So that's the view that you're seeing. You're looking back north up towards Atlanta Highway when you go back into this. So that's the radar view. This is the camera view. That's ASU, which we'll get back to. There you see it. It's arrived.
Look how quickly it moved.
Yeah.
ASU was just rain, and now
20 seconds later.
and now it looks like
And
sunshine.
there's some stuff flying through the air. Occasionally, you'll see little small pieces of leaves. See that right there?
Wow, look at that.
Oh, it's leaves, I guess, huh? Phew, man, that is something. That's some pretty powerful wind to kick that much kind of ground cover up. I don't want to call it debris because we don't think this is like a tornado
Yeah.
on the ground kind of scenario at this point. But yeah, some small pieces of leaves there getting lofted up into the air and blown all around. It takes quite a bit of wind to do that. Moral of the story, East Montgomery, if you don't have to be out driving right now, don't. This is pretty nasty stuff. The combination of the wind and the rain, no fun. And then the other drivers on the road. Those are what you really have. The weather's dangerous, but that knucklehead next to you on Taylor Road,
Because we can only control what we do,
yeah,
not what
right.
everyone else
He
does.
hasn't used a blinker since the Reagan administration. So you know what I'm talking about if you live there.
Blinkers are your friends.
Lincoln, yeah, tee him up. So storming now East Montgomery. That's what you see here. That's the HealthStar camera network. That's part of a line of storms that extends back up into northern Montgomery County and southern Elmore County. It's prompted a severe thunderstorm warning here. The tornado warning we had earlier for the Lake Martin area has been allowed to expire. That storm still capable of producing some strong winds. So let's take you up there. And in fact, Nick, you see that gradient there. I would anticipate there's actually quite a bit of strong wind right now
Yeah.
from Dadeville south back towards Bama Park, Cherokee Bluffs. That's Martin Dam right there.
Right.
And then along 49 from Blue Creek Marina south, heads up, strong wind within this. Let's check out the raw velocity product here and see what we can see there. Nothing off the charts, but probably some stout wind out here. This would be in southern and south central Tallapoosa County.
Yeah, stout wind and a blinding rain. That's what we're seeing within this line, all the way from New Site down through Dadeville, Lake Martin, all the way into eastern portions of the city of Montgomery. That is why they issued that severe thunderstorm warning. We saw some leaves and stuff flying around from our Auburn University at Montgomery camera, and also had reports of small hail within this storm cell, and that's why they have that severe thunderstorm warning on it. But I know this is moving through a significant portion of our viewing area, but to our south, we also had another severe thunderstorm warning that's still active for Clark, portions of Wilcox County and northern Monroe County. We're keeping a close eye out on. And then there's that storm that's down there in portions of North Florida that could impact southern portions of Covington County. So a lot happening across our area this afternoon with these storm cells that's currently working their way through the state.
There you see that storm right there. Okaloosa and Santa Rosa counties down in Florida.
Doesn't seem to be moving as fast as the other ones, but still something to keep a close eye out on.
Yeah, and the way it's tracking, I mean, this is going to end up in Covington. So if it continues to rotate, we may end up with a tornado warning situation there in central, southwestern Covington. Bullock, Macon County warning coming. I think that's going to be a severe, but don't quote me on that just yet. A lot of quarter-sized reports of hail coming in from around the city.
Right.
We've seen on Facebook and Twitter alone, I've seen probably 30 or 40 reports of hail coming out of Montgomery.
Macon, Bullock?
Macon and Bullock.
Would that be
for
that
this
storm?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Well, I bet they'll probably blanket out maybe that one and then also include that southern cell. So that's Tuskegee, back down towards Hector and Shopton. This will be over here.
They actually issued a tornado warning for it.
Tornado warning for that
Yeah.
storm. Okay, so let's look at it here. So there's your possible tornado right there. Yeah, that's a small but noticeable area of rotation out here that's just popped up in the last few scans. You'll notice if you watch right in here, nothing there. But then in the last scan, this has just popped up. So we've been watching the radar, Now, this has just popped up here. This will be along the Macon-Bullock County line. This will cross US 29 south of Cotton Valley. So that's Tuskegee, that's Union Springs. Neither of those cities are in the polygon. So this is going to go north of downtown Union Springs, south of downtown Tuskegee. And Nick, this is a tricky storm in that it's kind of out here all alone.
Right, and we were talking about that earlier with that storm to our south. When you get these storm cells that's not in all this messy rain reflectivity to the north, it could feed off that warm, moist air and cause that potential spin up. And that's probably the reason why they went ahead with that tornado warning. I think it goes until 3:45. Is that the correct timing on that?
3:45.
And it's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Again, it does not include the city of Union Springs or Tuskegee, but nevertheless, if you live south of Tuskegee or north of Union Springs on that highway there, get into your safe spot now, because we could have that tornado form. It looks like it's forming, trying to form, and move in that general direction to the north and east.
Don't see any signs of tornado debris at this point. There is, as we said, kind of noticeable rotation right along the Macon-Bullock line. It's right here. This is what we're talking about. So this is going to move sort of northeast like this. So Cotton Valley, Davisville, and eventually on over towards Creekstand, this will be an issue. Northeast movement at, I think, around 30 miles per hour on that storm. So the possible tornado noted 7 miles northwest of Union Springs. So, yeah, that jives pretty well with what we're seeing. Now, a new severe thunderstorm warning for Chambers and Tallapoosa. So that's for the storm to the north, coming that line of storms that goes from Montgomery all the way up into East Alabama.
Yeah.
They've extended that severe thunderstorm warning back over there. So let's dive into that too. We'll go back over to the reflectivity, and then you see that new severe thunderstorm warning for the northern part of the line up here. So
And we were talking about the winds being significant within the storm cell, and it looks like they're just blanketing it now.
they are, yeah. So Dadeville back down 280 towards Farmville, the Bottle. The old Yellowhammer restaurant sits out here. Then over to Chambers County around Buffalo, 5 Points, and Lafayette in Alabama. It's Lafayette in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So Lafayette in Chambers County. Strong winds, the main concern out of that storm. So stay away from trees, power lines, stay in the middle part of your house. Don't go look outside. You're not going to see anything other than rain and lightning. And there is quite a bit of lightning in this.
Yeah.
So you'll notice this line, prolific lightning producing line, also some hail falling out of some of these storm cores as well. We'll go to the hail indicator and the hail swath indicator, and you can see, back
Lake
over
Martin,
here,
Tallahassee.
you've had several reports of hail back into Montgomery as well.
Montgomery.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Strong winds as well back into southern Elmore. For the city of Montgomery, this specific storm has passed. We may do this again later on tonight, but as things stand right now, city of Montgomery is slowly improving, or at least in a lull. Let's put it that way.
Because there's more storms to the west. A lot of stormy weather. Luckily, it's more congealed,
Right.
and not really singular storm cells like what we're seeing in eastern portions of the state right now. But we do now have another tornado warning. That's for portions of really northern, just a small sliver north of Union Springs, Bullock County, and then a good chunk of Macon County, the southern half of it, mainly south of Tuskegee.